Okay, so picture this. You've got this brilliant mind, one that's basically read the entire internet. It can write poetry, it can debug code, it can explain quantum physics. But here's the catch. It's trapped. It's stuck in a box, completely cut off from today's news, no way to check the weather, and zero ability to actually do anything in the real world. Its knowledge is totally frozen in time.
And that really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If an AI is disconnected from the living, breathing, constantly changing world we're in, can we actually call it intelligent, or is it just a super sophisticated parrot? Well, in this explainer, we're going to break down exactly how developers are handing this AI the keys to the real world. All right, first up, let's really dig into the problem. We need to get a handle on what's happening inside that box. What we're dealing with is something called an AI agent, and usually it's got a big old large language model as its brain.
So this agent, that's our genius in the box. You give it a prompt, and sure, it can process it. But its knowledge is completely static. It's all based on whatever data it was trained on months or years ago. That means it can't check if a product is in stock right now, it can't book you a flight, and it definitely can't tell you if you need an umbrella today. The bottom line is, it can reason, but it can't act.
So, what's the solution? How do we plug this incredible brain into the outside world? How do we give it hands and eyes to interact? Well, it turns out we give it a key.
And that key is what we call a tool. You can think of tools as the bridge. They're what allow the agent to reach outside of its own programming, connect to external systems, get live data, and finally take real-world actions. All of a sudden, the agent isn't just spitting out text. It can actually interact with the world around it. Game changer.
This whole idea has a name, of course. It's called the tool use pattern. Now, one of the most common ways developers make this happen is through a mechanism called function calling. The important thing to remember is that it's a design pattern that lets the LLM figure out when and how to call an outside function, like a weather API or a company's internal database, to go out and grab the super specific, fresh information it needs to get the job done.
Okay, so how does this actually work? Under the hood. It's not magic, even though it kind of feels like it. It's actually a really smart back and forth conversation between the AI and the software framework it's running in. Let's break it down.
It all works in this really neat 6-step loop. Think of it like this. First, a developer gives the AI a menu of all the tools it can use. Then, when you ask it something, the LLM intelligently decides, hey, I can't answer this on my own, I need a tool. Now, it doesn't run the tool itself. Instead, it creates a very specific work order. The system around it picks up that order, runs the actual tool, gets the result, like the current temperature, and then hands that new information back to the LLM. And then, with that new piece of the puzzle, the LLM puts together the final, much smarter answer for you. It's this continuous cycle. Think, act, see what happened, and think again.
So once we've equipped an agent with these tools, what can it really do? Well, it basically gets a whole set of superpowers. Let's walk through a couple of quick examples so you can see what I mean.
Let's start with a really simple classic one. You just want to know the weather. Now, a standard LLM on its own, it's going to struggle with that, right? Because the weather is changing literally every minute. So when you ask for the weather, the agent knows its own knowledge is stale. It immediately identifies the weather API as the right tool for the job, calls that tool with the location London, gets the real-time data back, and then, and this is the cool part, it translates all that messy API data into a simple sentence a human can understand. Super simple example, but you can already see how powerful this is. Okay, let's level up a bit. How about a more complex business example? Picture an AI agent that works for an e-commerce site. Now get this. The agent isn't just looking at public info anymore. It's securely tapping into a private company database using an API tool. It can check real-time stock levels, look up an order status, maybe even process a payment. It's gone from being a walking encyclopedia to a genuinely useful specialized employee. And seriously, the potential here is massive. A tool doesn't just have to be one little function. It could be a web browser to do live searches, it could be a map service, a calculator. Heck, it could even be another specialized AI agent. This is the leap from a simple text generator to a true digital assistant. Okay, this all sounds fantastic in theory, right? But how do developers actually build these things? Well, the good news is they don't have to start from square one. There are some incredible frameworks out there that do a lot of the heavy lifting.
You've probably heard of some of them. Frameworks like LangChain, CrewAI, and Google's Agent Developer Kit, the ADK, are total game changers. LangChain is awesome for, well, chaining together different calls and tools. CrewAI is fantastic for managing whole crews of agents that work together on complex jobs. And the Google ADK is super robust, coming packed with powerful tools like Google Search and even a safe space to run code right out of the box. These toolkits are what make this whole concept a real, practical thing for developers to use.
All right, let's wrap this up with the key takeaways. Number 1, tool use is what lets an AI break out of its box and interact with the real, live world. 2, this completely transforms a language model from just a text machine into an agent that can do stuff. 3, it all works because of a clever process where the LLM decides when to call for help. And finally, frameworks like LangChain, CrewAI, and the Google ADK are what make it all happen.
And that leaves us with one last really big thought. We've just given the AI the keys to the real world. It can act now, not just talk. So the big question I have for you is, what's the very first thing you would ask it to do? What problem would you set it loose on? Because now the possibilities are just wide open.